All righty. Wednesday night,
Yes, it is.
they left us alone.
Oh boy, party time.
No, I think that's where they went,
Well, they did, but it's party time for us.
right?
We can let it loose.
We can. We will, we are.
Oh yeah.
All right, Wednesday night, Thanksgiving Eve. For us old folks, we stay in. Your boys going out?
They probably are. They're over at Kyle's over at my sister-in-law's watching the nieces for a little bit, and then probably going to be coming home to go out in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you still get to call around 2 a.m. to go pick them up?
Yeah, as long as I don't fall asleep and miss the call. Yeah. So yeah, either that or I get the Uber charge.
There you go.
One or the other.
Might be easier for the Uber charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, happy Thanksgiving Eve, everyone. Welcome, Joe Stinger. We can always count on you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Lauren and Anthony are sitting this one out. They got dinner reservations with friends down in Delco. So it's just John and I, and we'll cover a few things.
Oh yeah.
We'll cover some Philly sports. But first and foremost, are we updated on our fantasy world?
We are caught back up finally. So we'll be we'll start with fantasy basketball. Carl, you dropped into second place this week by 10 points.
Oh, I see that.
Yeah, you had it a little bit, and then it dropped down a little bit yesterday.
Okay.
But you had it for the first 3 weeks, but you're right there. So
all right. Okay.
Yeah, there's been a little bit of shaking and moving going on. It's been going well, basketball is the toughest of all the fantasy sports that we do because of all the load management and guys missing games left and right. So it makes it tough. They don't want to play a full season for some reason. The players, but they want to get paid like they're getting a full season's worth of play in. And then we got our fantasy.
I tried to watch that Sixer game last night.
Oh yeah, yesterday you picked the wrong day.
Yeah, we can get into that later, but I tried.
Yeah, and then we got our fantasy hockey going strong there. Kyle's got the lead at the moment over me by 11 points or so. And then we got Michael Gambone and William Zolnick, Michael Golivier, and then John Strollo. Tony's moved up a few spots there. He's out for blood this year, so we got to keep an eye out for him. And then our fantasy football, we are still moving. It's getting tighter at the top there. Henry's losing his grip over there, and Brett Downey and Randy Bachman Sr. is jumping up there a little bit and nipping at his heels. So Henry's going to have to watch himself in the next couple of weeks. So it's getting tight, and again, just as you see there, it's week 12 for fantasy football already. I mean, it's crazy how things are going. So it's been
life is just flying by.
Yes. Well, like you said, I mean, next week it's going to be December. It's crazy. Very, very crazy. And so yeah, everything's going well there. We got updated and got everybody filled in with their replacements, and so we're going well.
Good.
Yes.
Good. This Fans View Fantasy World brought to you by John O'Brien.
There you go. There you go. So yeah, we're having fun with it. Everybody seems to be having fun. They're reaching out and they're more interactive. At each as the years go on. So it's good to see. Growing.
Yeah. It's not always about the prize. It's, about holding down that number one seed.
That's right. That's right.
All right. I don't know where you want to start. We have no. I mean, the only format that I have, it's the same drama as it was last week. maybe just a little bit more.
Yeah, a little bit.
But since it's just you and me, we can bounce all over the board, back and forth. Pretty much do whatever we want. I don't think last week we got to talk much Phillies,
No.
Or any Phillies at all. So maybe we should kick off tonight with some Phillies talk. Not that there's a lot of talk to go around.
No, but there was just breaking news though right before, not Phillies breaking news, but baseball breaking news right before we came on. I don't know if you saw it come across your phone there that
Dylan Cease.
Yeah, Dylan Cease is going to the Blue Jays.
Yeah,
which kind of affects the Phillies a little bit because it gives you an idea of what Rangers numbers may look like. He was 7 years for $210 million. So
yeah,
around $30 million a year on average. Not crazy. I mean crazy, yes, but not like $40 and $50 million type of thing. So,
what has he done to deserve that kind of money?
His record's not strong, but in the analytic world, he strikes out a lot of guys and pitches a lot of innings. So
okay, well there you go. Then he's worth every penny.
Exactly, but he's got like a under 500 record though. But yeah, which is kind of crazy.
Okay.
But he'll give you a lot of innings and strike out a lot of batters, and but yeah, it's crazy. Like you said, it's just monopoly money anymore.
Maybe Toronto thinks they're ready to rebound and come back and go for it again.
Well, yeah, they definitely do. I mean, it's a good good spot for them.
Yep.
I mean, he's still a solid pitcher. You put him 3, 4, whatever in the rotation, and take a little bit of pressure off of them, and things go turn around. So
yeah, well, I guess the old man's probably going to retire, right? Finally,
Max probably
Max Scherzer.
I would think so.
I mean, what do you? I know our good friend Todd Zalecki reported, I believe it was yesterday, that the Phillies aren't even close with Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
I mean, what? I mean, I don't. Todd's not the kind of guy to just throw that out there.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? He must know something, and not even close. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it doesn't surprise me in a way because I mean, it's where you finding a guy with 56 home runs, easily. Yeah, he's a little bit older, but he's gotten better as the years have gone on here in Philadelphia. The last 4 years, he's gotten better each year. Not only hitting home runs, but also with his batting average as well, and making a big difference, in that lineup. 33 is not. I mean, it's old, but in old, our type of thinking of baseball, but in today's world, it's not that old when they're going to play until they're 40 years old. I think it's the years more so with Kyle that the teams might be throwing out a 5th and a 6th year maybe type of thing.
Well, because they got to. I mean, that's going to be the deal breaker, right?
Right. Exactly. And I think that's where it's more so that they're not in the ballpark at the moment. Maybe they wanted a 4 or 5 max type of thing, where other teams are going put that in.
Let me ask you this: you're a big baseball guy. You're a big Phillies guy.
Yeah.
Where do you see the Phillies at on this? Like, where is their level of we're not going any higher than this?
Well, this is their problem with lowballing them earlier in spring training, and not getting this done because now you're at the mercy.
No idea. They had no idea he was going to hit 56 home runs either. You
know
what
I mean? Of course, no, not for that, but I mean, at least, but he was still putting up numbers that he was still going to make it, a decent money,
sure,
type of thing. And I think they're probably 4 with an option maybe for a 5th, maybe, type of thing. So, and probably looking at maybe 30 million a year, type of thing.
So it's going to be that extra year that's going
right.
to put somebody else over the top.
I would think, yeah. That's what it's always going to come down to,
right.
So whether some other team's going to be like, hey, it'll be interesting to see. Things have been moving slow this year so far with free agency, with the lockout potential at the end of the year after next year's season's over. So it's a little bit different because you would have thought some of these guys would have been signed by now. We've had a couple more trades than anything, and I think only one or two guys that have signed. With Cease doing it today. So usually between now and like the middle of December, we usually start hearing some of these bigger names going off.
Do you think that number up there in Canada was inflated because of the tax?
It could be, yeah, a little bit. I'm sure.
A lot of guys don't want to pay that tax. Kevin Kramer's got a question on the board.
Yeah.
Would you trade for Marte from Arizona?
He's definitely a talent wise, yes, but he gets injured a lot. That's the only thing. Because doing that, then that means you're moving on from Stott, I don't know if that's what they're going to do at this moment. If they're trying to go cheap, with things, I don't know if they're, because once you lose your Schwarber, you're kind of losing a lot of oomph in this lineup.
But you're losing a lot of home runs.
Yeah.
You're losing an awful lot of home runs. I mean, start adding them up. I mean, who was second on the team? Harper?
Probably. Yeah, and he only had like 19 or 20 with missing the games that he missed.
Yeah, I don't know about him being a problem in the clubhouse, Kevin. I don't know much about that, but I do know this. I think the Phillies roster is going to look a whole lot different this year. I think there's a lot of bite in what Dombrowski has said. And rumors that are floating around. I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think they're looking to move on from some guys.
Well, yeah. I mean, like, Stott, it's a guy that you're going to have to pay, in 2 years type of thing. And Bohm's a guy you're going to have to pay after next year.
Right.
So, it's time to either move on or, what are you going to do with them? Because, maybe get less for them type of thing. And, yeah, I don't know. It's because there's a lot more rumors going around that JT may not be here, as well. That there's more teams involved with him, which is then going to raise up the price, whether he still stays here or not. Which we both agree that he probably needs to stay here for the pitching staff. But then there's also, like you had mentioned earlier in the season, that trading for Adley Rutschman. There's a lot of more talks about that coming up as well. Which could be a good thing as well, because you're going to get a little younger. He may, offensively, maybe a little bit better than JT, but it's JT's special because of the way he handles that pitching staff. And
but let me just bounce this off you. Don't you feel like he's lost a step and he's lost a little bit?
Yeah, yes. He has obviously. I mean, you're getting older, at that position, but he's very streaky, and he got hot at the end of the year and was probably one of your better bats going into the playoffs. But yeah, it's. I think we just need a couple of chips to fall, whether Schwarber gets signed somewhere else or signs back here, and then things will all fall in place, because it's like if we get our plan one, it's going to go this way, and all these guys are going to fall in line, or once a couple of guys get moved on from, then who knows what's going to happen at that point.
Yeah.
Because
those are some big chips.
And you can't wait too long. That's the thing. It's I'm always aggressive. When you got free agency and you got a full ballpark every night out there, you got money to spend. And I know Middleton spent money a lot, but you're just dipping your toes at the moment into the deep end. You got to go all.
Oh yeah, when you're talking about some of these other top tier teams, the Mets, the Dodgers, even San Diego, the Giants, these teams all want to win.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean, they all want to win. The Dodgers, I mean, they just seem to. They have the pipeline coming out of Japan, so they hold the cards there,
right?
For those guys, but
and that's the thing too. Like, you can't hold on and hope that you're going to get that third baseman from Japan that is still 3 weeks away from finding out who's going to get him.
Right. He hasn't posted yet, right?
Well, he posted, and it's like 45 days. So, like, I think
is that what it is? Okay.
I think you're about halfway through. So, I mean, you're still 2-3 weeks away at least before you find out.
Okay.
But it's you can't keep again putting your eggs in a basket hoping that you're going to get it and then not get it, type of thing. And like you said, the Dodgers always seem to find a way to get the Japanese guys to go there.
No, they got the pipeline.
Well, yeah,
you know what I mean. They just seem to have that pipeline, and they're the team that creates the most chemistry, and they want to go there.
Yeah, so. and like Joe says, the longer you wait, the more money it's going to cost you, and they got to take a page out of Howie's book, and get these guys locked up a little bit earlier, and figure out what you're going to do. Because I mean, if you need a whole new outfield, and if you're going to trade, to get Stott moved on, if you're going to get a Marte or get a third baseman, and then if Ranger doesn't come back, you need a starting pitcher on top of it. I mean, you got a lot of moves to make, and you got to start doing it a little sooner than later, I think. But
yeah, I mean, here you are, like you say, we're a week out from, first week in December, and, guys generally start to get on the move to head to Florida or Arizona, in January.
Yeah.
To start practicing in warm climate. But we can certainly come back to the Phillies, if the show allows us to.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to move on. Not that it's going to take a whole lot to figure out what direction the Sixers are currently going. I tried watching them last night, and I said to Sue, I'm like, who are these guys? I mean, I couldn't. Grimes was the only guy I knew by name that was on the floor.
Yeah.
This is when they had taken Maxey out of the lineup, I mean, I just didn't know. I just didn't know these guys. You know
No,
what I mean? And
yeah, yesterday definitely was a wear your little badge on your chest there. This is welcome. I'm John. Type of moment. It's just about. I don't know. That was a tough one. I mean, it got crazy and it got ugly. They were down, 40, 50 points.
yeah, it got physical too because
Well,
Drummond wanted to go a couple of times, and
yeah, I saw that. I wanted to mention that to you. I mean, that was I'd never seen. I mean, that brings back some old time basketball right there. Getting ready to fight.
yeah.
Yeah, that was funny, and it was just funny to see that the other player for Orlando, his reaction. Go ahead, hit me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just I mean, I don't know. We got some early luck at the beginning of the season. We seem to, have nailed down some victories.
Yeah.
Edgecombe was playing well alongside, Maxi, and then that seemed to fade away, and Edgecombe got hurt, and
Yeah.
I don't know what has happened to McCain. Did they try bringing him back too soon, too early?
I think that it could be that knee injury. I think hopefully doesn't hold him back too much longer, and he might need another this rest of this year to recover and get back to hopefully the semblance of what he was. But
yeah, I really liked him. I mean, I liked him coming out of college. I liked him last year. And when he got hurt, he just seems like he's injury prone now because he's had multiple injuries.
Right. Well, that's the problem. You start, adding on different things. You had the thumb injury, and then the knee, and yeah, he had that brace on the knee, and he seemed to be a little bit slower, which I guess you can expect. Early,
sure,
for right now, because obviously you're playing against some high athletic players in the league, going through basketball, running up and down the court, and
oh yeah,
and then that was a lot of his game was the speed.
Oh sure.
Hey,
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
Is there a missing persons report been filed? I mean,
well, I think he's trying out for the new wicket as a scarecrow. I think that's wicket's out right now, so I think that's what he's part of the scarecrow.
He's starring in that movie.
He is, yeah. And so I think we might be missing him for the next month or two. But everybody got sucked back into it again. And it's and some of it's not his fault right at the moment because obviously he got injured with his knee, but it's almost to the point now. It's like you got to get just medically retire. And unfortunately, it is what it is. I mean, it's because you're holding this team back right now. You're getting other injuries as well, and Paul George is another one that's is out there for one game because he was playing his old team with the Clippers, and then we haven't seen him since. Other than a game here, there's just that's frustrating, and it's got as much drama as there is with the Eagles. That's got to be more drama. Knowing is this guy in today or is he not in today? Especially two keys like that with George and Embiid that are making 90% of your salary cap, and they're holding you back for
it's got to be draining on the coach. Yes, having the same questions asked day in and day out because he really don't give you much because he don't have much to give.
Right, because it's it comes down to how Embiid's knees feeling, and and the weather right now has been not great here in Philadelphia, and so that I'm sure that's not helping his knee injury issues as well with all this rain on top of his big body frame and trying to move up and down the court. And He got out there and played a couple of games, and we're right back to where we were at last year. He's going to probably make 20 games again this year. And is that really worth it? To get him out there, and it's just, to me, it's not. Just because Maxey, you could see he's starting to take over the team, which he has to right now, and it's good to see. But he kind of had his career stunted, I think, because of Embiid, being the guy that was the man, and and they kind of still fall back when Embiid is out there on the court.
And I don't know that. I mean, I love Maxey, but I just don't know that he can carry this team by himself.
Well, I think he can. He just can't play 35, 40 minutes a game.
Well, that's what I mean. I mean, they're expecting him. Yeah, they're expecting every minute out of him, and I just don't think it's possible.
Right, and especially with all the back-to-backs, and then you get guys being out on top of that. So yeah, I think he can carry the team. He's putting up a lot of points, but he also needs that second person to go along for those games where he's going to struggle a little bit. He still might put 25 points up on the board, and that you're going to consider his struggling a little bit. An off night, you need your other guy, like an Embiid or a Paul George that's going to take over. And it was nice with the Edgecombe, before he got hurt. He was able to do a little bit, and he was athletic.
What is the injury status on him? Any idea?
I haven't heard. It's been kind of hush hush a little bit. Like I don't know, like what the original
like everything else in Philadelphia, right?
Yeah, exactly. But
all right.
So yeah, I mean it's because it can be exciting. Like there's a couple of guys. You've seen a lot yesterday in that game because they were down. That were the G League guys that came up because they had, again, last night they had like 4 or 5 guys that were out of the lineup to start out with. So, and then it got ugly that they had to all play on top of it. But for the most part, this year they've been competitive. They've been fun to watch. They've been in games till the end for the most part, and it's just they need that one extra piece. And unfortunately, they can't get that piece because of Embiid and George being out of the lineup and taking up so much money. But it's just one of those things. But it's a Philly thing.
It is a Philly thing. My. I talked about it last week. It was probably a big part of our conversation, so much drama, much drama with, and I guess, I mean, it all seems to just come right back to, players with big contracts and big egos and, the ability to just they make it hard on, making a run with the team. Right. You know what I mean? It just, here, I mean, again, we talked earlier about the Phillies. They got 3 big names that, that they got to figure out fast. Here you are, with the Sixers. We just got done talking about them. They don't seem to have a problem paying guys. I mean, everybody here, you want money?
Right.
Well, here's more money. Money, you want more money? We'll give you more money. Yeah. It's not lack of, not getting paid in, down there in South Philly for the Sixers.
No.
They just throw an awful lot of money around and like we had talked about, Embiid, he got, he got his contract re-upped. They didn't need to do that.
No.
You know what I mean?
That's going to come back and haunt them.
They screw themselves.
Yeah.
And then we move on and we talk about the Flyers who Danny Briere has kind of taken over and he got rid of some bad contracts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He moved some guys, and to be honest with you, I think he might be looking to move a couple of more contracts because guys just aren't. I mean, I never understood that Cam York deal to begin with. And now now his name's being tossed around, as a potential, trade piece,
Right.
So they pay these guys, and I understand they want to be competitive. You want to sell tickets, as Anthony always says. You know what I mean? You got to sell tickets. You got to fill the seats. And it's just a bad spot that they're in right now because they really don't have a solid number one goaltender anywhere, in the organization.
Right.
Dan Vladar's done a phenomenal job. I don't know he's the answer, to the future. He told us when he was at the store, him and his agent wanted a 3-year deal, and they only got a 2-year deal. Right. So where was the commitment level there from the Flyers?
Yeah, and it was even less money on top of it, for the 3 years.
Right. So, I mean, the Flyers are, they got smacked in the chops, Monday night, 3-0 to Tampa.
Yeah.
And they better wake up and come out early tonight because, they've got the Stanley Cup champions staring them in the face.
Right.
So, I like a lot of the things that they've done, but I just think there's a lot more, work to be done there. And we're probably still a couple of years away.
Yeah.
They still need that. They still need that centerman, that big time centerman that can fly up and down, the ice. And, there's been talk that the Seagrass kid, could get moved to center, but I don't know that that's that's the move to make. You know what I mean?
Because then they started him there, didn't they, in the beginning, and then moved him off to the wing.
Yeah. So
and he took off when he went to the wing. So I think, like you said, leave him there at the wing, and it could be a Band-Aid for this year, but not that you want to. If
it was a good acquisition.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The kid from, I forget his name, the kid from Montreal. They acquired him, but he only signed a 1-year deal. His name escapes me. But he's played well. You know what I mean? Played well, but I mean, you're still, like Joe said, you're missing an awful lot of pieces,
right?
And I mean,
and still young,
I mean, they're still in the playoff hunt because there's some really bad teams out there. You know what I mean? So there's a lot.
Like you got a Mitchkoff that he's still young that you're hoping is going to take even that next step, or maybe he doesn't. You don't know.
It's just. I was talking to some people Saturday night when we were down there at the game, and he came into shape. They're now blaming it on a bad ankle,
right?
/ being out of shape. Not being ready for training camp. I mean, I don't know. Young athletes today. I mean, you would think they'd work out almost every day and not allow themselves to, to fall into those bad habits.
You would think, yeah.
So. But I'm sure things here in America are a lot better off than they are over in Russia. So
correct.
Maybe he ought to think about living here permanently and not going back home.
True.
So, but I mean, the Flyers are. I mean, Saturday night was a fun game. We were down there and we were treated to the 3 goals in 26 seconds down our end. Just a phenomenal game, just a fun game to be at. So I mean they have these spurts,
Anthony even got on TV with Lauren.
Yep.
Well, I didn't see. I know I saw the one picture. Were you part of it on TV as well?
Mm-hmm.
You got on there as well.
Yeah, I I was on the other side of Lauren. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah. But yeah, the three of us were right there. Yeah. Great seats, great night.
Yeah.
Got to hang out down in the VIP lounge, before the game, during the game. So that was fun, hanging out with some former, alumni and whatnot. But yeah, everybody's kind of like, what's the next move? You know what I mean? What's Danny going to do next?
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see. They're in a lot better shape than the Sixers are. I know that.
Oh yeah. No, exactly. I mean, and again, they're just as fun to watch as well. That they're competitive for the most thing. I mean, yeah, you had a clunker to 3-0 loss, but
right.
But they, for the most part, they're in games.
They're competitive.
Tocchet's
got them.
Yeah.
Tocchet's got them playing well, and it's good to see. They come on tonight shortly.
Yeah.
Against Florida, and so we'll see what happens.
Exactly.
What usually right about this hour we do a segment called John's Rants. Are you in the mood, or you're in turkey mode, or are you prepared?
Oh yeah, I'm always prepared. Sure, we could do John's Rants. So
I got my popcorn.
There you go.
I got my popcorn.
There you go. I'm glad you're prepared.
I got my popcorn.
This week was, as you said, there was a lot of drama. So there's a few different options, and I'm still just a little bit frustrated because of traffic. Because coming home, it took a lot longer today with getting home. So that was part of it.
Yeah,
so.
you've been running into a lot of that lately.
Yeah, I don't know. You get the rain and stuff and the bad weather.
Well, you got a lot of kids home from college.
Well, yeah, they're off.
You know what I mean? So they're on break. Schools are on half day. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's not a good thing when you see cars turned around on the wrong way on a turnpike and.
No, it's not supposed to happen.
That's not supposed to happen, and cars going into the sound barriers, and the sound barriers are all split apart, and it's people just don't know how to drive when it comes to the rain, holiday time. And then the worst part is the rubberneckers. And I know you were asking how that word came about, but it's just all the knuckleheads.
Is that in the dictionary, rubbernecker?
I'll have to check. I don't know if that's just the Philly slang or what.
There you go. Go.
But everybody's got to go. It's not even in your lane, and it's on the other direction, and you got to watch that see what's going on, and you're slowing down and then people got to cut people off, and the Amazon drivers. I don't know if you've noticed that they're the worst though. In those vans, the Amazon drivers, they got to get everywhere, and no wonder why packages get damaged so much the way they drive. but yeah, I mean it only gets worse, and between now and the new year, it's always the worst. So. Make sure everybody be safe out there when you're driving. Because
we heard it from our FedEx driver the other day, right? He said it's the holiday deliveries have already started.
Yeah, before Black Friday.
That was like Monday, I think he said that.
Exactly. Yeah, it already started before the holidays. So. And
our other FedEx guy today said he might get home somewhere around 8:00 tonight.
Exactly. He's hoping so he can have turkey tomorrow. But yeah,
he's just going to have to stop at Wawa and get a turkey gobbler,
or just turkey,
or just turkey.
but yeah, make sure everybody's safe out there driving, especially these next few weeks. I'll give the Philly sports a break for the rant right now.
All right. Well, we kind of saved the worst for last. After that debacle of a loss on Sunday, I mean, I got to enjoy the first half. I mean, I watched the whole game at Buffalo Wild Wings. 21-0. I was doing the happy dance. I was feeling pretty good. I was like, wow,
and you saw different things too. The way the offense was moving, it was different.
Yep. Yep. And then all hell broke loose.
Yeah.
Couple of well, not a couple of penalties. There were way too many penalties.
14.
14 penalties.
Well, who's counting?
What I know you're a big analytics guy and you watch tape and watch the game over and over and over again. Have you had time? I know it's a short week and you've been busy. Have you had time to kind of like see one particular thing that's disturbing to you?
It's just it all comes down to, they want to say execution, but it's play calling. It's the same things for, I don't know, 3-4 years now. And yes, we've been to 2 Super Bowls during that time period as well. But things just don't look right. It's just they get the job done, and especially the past 2 years that they're the most talented teams in football. So they cover up a lot of things. I just don't like, and I really need to find out, to give somebody in the Eagles organization the truth serum to figure out what the actual problem is. Is it the play calling? Is it Sirianni, like the way his offense goes, that they're too conservative, that they play almost not to lose? And then they get up the 21 points and then they start, just being conservative. And yeah, they passed more because they gave up on the run, this game. So there's always something different, so you can't just say it's one thing, because they gave up on the run, only ran 11 times, last week.
You bring up, the run, and to me, that's probably the most disturbing thing to me.
Yeah.
Because, go back a couple of years, you've lost Jason Kelsey as, the best center in football.
Right.
And, here comes Cam Jurgens, and he's supposed to be the heir apparent to Jason Kelsey. Well, I love the kid. He works hard, but he's no Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
He's no Jason Kelsey.
No, I mean, he's got his a little bit of issues with his injuries and stuff, but yeah.
Well, even from take injuries aside.
Oh yeah.
The fundamental technique. You always saw Jason downfield.
Right.
He was in the play when he wasn't in the play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just, I can go both sides of the offensive line. Lane Johnson, he needs to hang him up. I mean, I love Lane Johnson as well. Yeah. I just think 14 years is a long time, and your body just can't take it anymore.
Right. Yeah, he's turning into Jason Peters right at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, he's not doing you any good being off the field, and I kind of think that's one area that Howie kind of didn't address too well. He brought Fred Johnson back, but he didn't bring Fred Johnson back to be the starter,
right,
to replace Lane.
Right.
You got Skeens in there. You've got who was in there when Toth was in there. Who else did you have in there? That's not good. You had who was the backup center to Cam?
Well, Toth took over with the center.
And then you had who was the other offensive lineman that came in?
Yeah, with Steen.
Steen, Toth, and there was one other guy that came in.
Yeah, for a short period there. But yeah, I mean, they definitely, the offensive line has definitely been under pressure this year.
It's been a grind for them because there's no continuity. There isn't what it used to be. And I know guys retire, and I get all that and whatnot, but you're supposed to have replacements, and you're supposed to have guys that are ready
Right.
to jump in. And I just think we've fallen apart on the offensive line,
That's true.
and I think that's a big part of not being able to do things. I mean, just take the tush push for example. Yeah. They're not able to run the tush push anymore because they can't get the push up front.
True. No, that's true.
I keep going back to Jason Kelsey and what he brought to that O line. And you just don't have that now. And then you take Lane off the field. You just don't have the leadership. You know what I mean? And as hard as it is for me to say this, Jalen Hurts is not a leader. You know what I mean? He may call the play in the huddle, but guess what? I don't think many guys on the team respect him as a leader. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of bad juju there, and I don't know how long that's been going on, but it just didn't happen.
Well, that's true.
It's been going on for a while. So I just think, there's a lot of blame to go around. And, Sunday's game, you got no push on the defensive line. Your Davis and your Carters, they went missing. Jalen Phillips, they went missing, especially in that second half. They got very little pressure on Dak, and it let him do whatever he wanted.
Well, what you did, and that goes back to having a competent quarterback, that's able to pick you apart a little bit, because he got the ball out quick enough that it kind of made those guys invisible, because he was getting out before they could even get to touch him, which is a good game plan from them. And I just don't know. I listened on Monday on the way home to the Players Lounge, and Jordan Mailata was saying, and Landon Dickerson were saying that the teams are selling out to stop the run and bringing the extra guys in, and that's what's also making it hard on Barkley to be able to get the runs, along with the guys being hurt themselves. And you got to throw your way out of that, and that's the thing that we don't see. And that's why, like I said, I want to see. Jalen Hurts can throw. I get it, for a lot of spots, but like, is Sirianni holding him back as far as with these no turnovers? We got to win the turnover battle, and you see guys like Dak. He's going to throw some interceptions, but he's going to throw those balls up there and let his guys make some plays, and
like Josh Allen,
right? And Josh Allen, the same thing, and all your quarterbacks. Mahomes does it as well, and he doesn't have as much of the talent. You're going to throw up interceptions. Jared Goff's another one, that throws up.
What's Jalen got? One all year,
right? And he just won't throw it unless the guys are wide open and or makes like crazy catches like Devontae Smith did.
Now he's paying for it this week.
Right. Exactly.
He blew up his body, landed on his back and neck, and
right. And then the player landed on top of him on that as well. So
we may not have him for Friday's game. It's not looking good.
And that's the thing, coming off of a short week, and it's we talked about it, at the store, endlessly. It's like, this team's so good. Can you say that Sirianni's a good coach, or is he being carried by his team around them? And the same thing with Jalen Hurts. Is Jalen the reason they're winning, or is it more so the team the reason that they're winning? And
every week it seems to be something different, one or the other.
Right? And that's the thing. It gets you confusing it. And at the end of the day, they're 8-3. So it's like, you kind of have to keep quiet and like, okay, let's keep this going until as long as it can go. And then you see that game like Sunday when a decent team, they're not even one of those great teams. They had a good offense, But you still should have been able to keep putting up points on that offense, on that defense.
I don't know if anybody follows Jason Avant on NBC Sports
Yeah.
Philly,
Mm-hmm.
but he if you don't, he breaks the game. He breaks the game down really well.
Oh yeah.
The X's and O's. Where guys miss certain things. And he's pretty pointed as to who he's talking about and where things should have gone versus where they went. And he's pretty good breaking it all down. I wonder if he's got some coaching ability, in him somewhere.
Yeah.
Because he certainly talks about the game the way you understand it. If they can break it down so that the common football fan can understand it, and stop the tape and see how bad things really are, in certain areas, he does a real nice job. He's starting to be one of my favorites that I enjoy, because not only does he break the tape down, he explains it. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's definitely, there's a lot going on right now, and when things go bad, they're going to get worse before they get better. You know what I mean? So I don't know where that leads us for Friday's game versus the Bears, because the Bears are also 8-3, and they're playing some really high octane football.
Yeah, they won 8 out of 9 games.
So we're gonna have our hands full. You're gonna you got a good young aggressive quarterback. You got to hope that Vic Fangio has his defensive guys ready to come after you. Our secondary is now beat up.
Oh yeah.
Just 2 weeks ago, we were making plays all over the field. Now I think we've lost 2 or 3 guys. We're moving guys around. You got Sidney Brown, who's not a starter, who's getting moved back into that role. So,
yeah. At least a little bit of good news. Dory Jackson looks like he should be able to play this week. So,
I didn't like him on Sunday against the Cowboys.
Right.
He kind of.
They have a good tandem of wide receivers over there, and that's the thing. Like you get the two. If you get 2 good wide receivers, it makes it tough. For a defense, because you got Quinyon Mitchell that can lock down the one side of the field,
but they even seem to have gotten beat up a little bit on Sunday. Him and Cooper. So.
But it's interesting to see. The last time this happened, that the Eagles, blew a game late in the fourth quarter, this year was Denver, and then coming off of a short week, and they played on Thursday instead of Friday.
Right.
They had to play the Giants, and they didn't look good at all. That Giants game, and got the doors blown off of them. So, and the Bears are just a little bit better than the Giants.
A little bit.
So hopefully, it's not the same thing that we see there, because after this game here, we got to go onto the road to play the Chargers, where they're a little bit better on Monday night, but they're a little bit better at home than they are on the road. You don't want to be coming down to the end of the season and start getting a little bit of a losing streak going,
right?
Before, because then you got the 2 Washington games and then the Buffalo game, and then the mixed in there before that is the Raiders. So, you should be able to win that Raiders game, and then depending on what they do, if they bring Jaden Daniels back or not for Washington, they could be a couple easy wins with Washington possibly as well. But a divisional game, so you got to always take them, with an extra little eye watching that game. And then Buffalo's game is the last game at Buffalo Stadium there, so that'll be interesting as well. So,
what in a short week like this? Obviously they probably, today being Wednesday, they're probably back on the field just to get the body loosened back up, and then game plan tomorrow. What do you think we could see? I mean, what do you expect to see from them?
Well, I didn't like also while I was in the hour and 45-minute ride home, they were talking about it's going to be another 35 miles an hour wind on Friday, during the game.
Right.
So we saw how the last windy game went with the Lions, that it was a low scoring game. So I don't think that the Bears running game is quite as good as.
Yeah, who's it? Our old friend, right?
Yep, Swift's their main guy, and I forget who the other one that they have with him, but it doesn't scare me as much as the Lions do with the Gibbs and Montgomery, but especially with Gibbs coming out of the backfield. That's where they didn't really beat us with the run game. They beat us with Gibbs with the short passes and
sure,
beating us that way. So it'll be interesting to see.
Okay.
With that one, I'm thinking it's going to be another low scoring defensive game.
Okay.
Just because of the weather, for
right.
both teams.
Yep.
And,
yep.
And it's going to be interesting because, as we talked about it earlier today, I just hope that Sirianni doesn't get caught up in Ben Johnson's, talking about the earlier, when he first got the job, that the tush push he's never seen an explosive play with the tush push. He likes explosive plays, and is Nick going to try to out explosive play Ben Johnson and does that give us a little bit of a bad karma type of thing? So
right, well,
interesting to see. Let's keep it to another tight game, and even if it's a 16-9 game like it was with the Lions, I'll take that. go to 9-3 because we got to keep pace now because we're one game behind the Rams at this moment, and
right,
and even the Bears because they're 8-3 as well. So like you said, whoever takes over, this is going to be the 2 seed. After this week, so
sure,
which will mean in the playoffs we're going to have to go onto the road, other than the first week for that second game. So
well, hopefully they can turn the page. Hopefully they can wash this one out of their system, and we'll see what happens. We could use a good confidence builder. To put some things together, you know what I mean? And get the boys all, heading in the right direction, especially when you got a couple of tough road games coming up.
Right. And the other thing too is the Bears defense has the most turnovers, this year. So, again, does that put the fear into Sirianni and Hurts, as far as, being able to push the ball a little bit, or are they going to take a little bit of a back, and then try to keep just a slower paced game and type of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Well, the love for Saquon Barkley is still there. He was at the Villanova game last night, and he got a standing ovation. So the fans haven't moved away from him one bit.
Oh no, and he hasn't lost it. Like you said, it's between the offensive line and the team selling out to stop the run like they did in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And that's the difference right now versus what we had all last year, because the game plan was out there. But you just got to make them pay for it if they're going to sell out for the run. You got to beat them with the pass, and that's what AJ Brown's been clamoring about all year.
So what are you saying, that Dallas Goedert's going to have a big game?
I hope so. That'd be nice.
Okay.
I mean, keep his short passes going there, and like we saw, last week, you didn't see it too much. The little swing passes to Barkley, make him our Jamar Gibbs, and let him dominate in the run game or in the pass game there
Yep.
versus the run game if they're going to sell out that way.
All right.
So yeah, I think like I said, this is a bigger game than people want to think, and
No,
everybody.
I think everybody, that I think every Eagles fan knows that.
Yeah, I just don't
They're
like the.
chafing at the bit to get back to the link and cheer on the birds and make it a big homecoming for the Eagles. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Coming off of that loss.
yeah, no, I just don't like the 7-point favorite. As
Yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
Especially.
Vegas knows something, right?
So that's the thing too. Like, I hope it is that way. But if the weather conditions aren't going to be great, that's going to make that 7-point line a little bit tougher too. But
Right.
Yeah, that's the only thing that scares me, because everybody thinks that it's just going to be a walkover. And we kind of thought the same thing, 4 weeks ago or whatever it was when we played the Giants. After losing to the Broncos the way we did at the last second field goal, and we saw how that worked out. So
Yep.
hopefully they learn from that, and we can we'll be talking about this next time being 9-3.
There you go. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
All right, Johnny. I think we held it down very nicely. I think we have proven once again that it can be a two-man show. And not that we didn't miss them. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
So, don't get me wrong, because we have a lot of fun together, and it is the holidays, so we all deserve a little break here and there. Again, everybody, happy Thanksgiving. Hope everybody. I saw our turkey in the sink about an hour ago, getting bathed and getting ready to be cooked tomorrow. So
there you go.
Yeah. So
there you go.
Yep.
Before we leave, if you got a couple minutes, if you want to talk about because you were there for Bernie Prance both nights, the celebration of life with Bernie. How was that? Being down there for Friday night, especially.
Yeah, Friday night was pretty awesome, because I think I want to say 16 or 17 of his teammates, were in town, came back. Bobby Clark, did one of them, drop the mic moments at the end.
Yeah.
Naming all the deceased members of the team, that they lost. What a unit, what a group of guys. And Fred Shiro said it best: win today and we walk together forever.
Yeah.
And it was proven once again. We lost Bernie. We lost a good man. I still tear up, thinking about a lot of our, times together and different things. But the Flyers did a phenomenal job Friday night. And then again on Saturday. The thing that got me the most is when at the beginning of the game, they put his mask on the top of the goal crease, and Dan Vladar stepped aside and they did a moment of silence. I mean, I thought that was paying some serious tribute to a beautiful individual who brought us 2 Stanley Cups in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I meant to ask you about that. Is that so? That's what it was. It was this moment of silence when they did that.
Yeah. And the place went dark, and the only light was on his helmet on the crease.
Yeah.
And gave you goosebumps, of course.
Oh yeah.
And I just, I mean, it just, I don't know if I'll ever live to see another Stanley Cup here in Philly. I know I got to witness 2, back then. I was just coming out of high school and barely knew the game. I was new to it. So, but I enjoyed it, and I've become friends with so many of these guys, and it's remarkable, because they're genuine human beings. Let me touch on one quick note from Friday night. Lauren brainstormed for us to go to Rexy's after the tribute, which is only about an 8-minute drive over the bridge.
Really?
Into Audubon, New Jersey. I had never been there before, and all my celebrating with these guys and doing different things and whatnot. And I think I put that in my post, and Ross Lonsberry's daughter couldn't believe. She commented and she said, "I can't believe that was your first trip there." You know what I mean? Because it was just great, because there were several people sitting at the bar in their Perrant jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if they had been, over to the celebration or not. I have no idea.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it was fun. It really was. They got a lot of memorabilia hanging on the wall when you first walk in.
Mm-hmm.
Good weekend. I enjoyed it. It was a weekend I won't forget for a very long time.
Very cool.
Flyers did an excellent job, and Clarkey was spot on with, the way he paid honor to all the guys that we've lost.
Yes.
So
yeah.
So here we are.
Yep. Another week down.
Another week down. Well, Johnny, enjoy your Thanksgiving. Enjoy your turkey tomorrow. Enjoy your family.
Yes.
I will see you bright and early at the store for our Black Friday sale.
Yes.
Hopefully you can get some good rest, because we're going to be busy as all get out.
Oh, yeah. That'll be fun.
So, Black Friday coming up. Small Business Saturday coming up. Should be fun.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for everybody who joined in. Have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Have a great Thanksgiving.